So I'm now walking into the city center. Here's quite close to the city center. This is a very good spot for this city. And here it's not like Shanghai. You see a lot of people walking on the street and so and so. So I'm going to talk about another topic. I'm going to share you some of the experience that I did in Australia. It is go back to almost 10 more years. I think it was 12 years ago. I went to Australia like during 2008, and I stayed in Australia for 3 years to study. So I was an international student over there. I stayed in Newcastle for 3 years. That was quite early, and that was my very early experience to engage the Western. I call it Western, but you know, Australian is more like a Pacific country. The British culture has the influence to Australian, and since they do speak English over there, so I had a very strong intention to improve my English back to like 10 more years, and I was going to lift my English level to a certain level. So when I first get there, my English level was, I don't know how to scale that. It was like I can do like not very basic, but quite basic conversation. I understand people like talk in a quite slow space, quite slow speed. I mean, but my vocab wasn't really big, and so it created a lot of difficulties to me. So, you know, Australian got some like weird accent, and they do use some different words compared to the standard British American English. So yeah, when I first get off the airplane, it was difficult to me to order food, to open a bank account, and it was hard for me to deal with my landlord. Although one of my best friends did a lot of things for me to rent a small room. You know, back to the days when China's economy isn't strong like these days, and the exchange rate 6.9 Australian, sorry, 6.9 Chinese yen. You can exchange one Australian dollar. So it's almost like more expensive than US dollars today. So it was a hard time for me, because you know, my dad supported me for all the tuition fee. He spent like almost 1 million to help me to get through this like 3 years of studies, as well as the daily basis expenditures. And I think I spent like almost like 1 million, like 800,000 or something, around that amount of money. You know, to spend this amount of money back to 12 years ago in Shanghai, you can buy a very good spacious apartment between the middle ring road and the outer ring road. Now it can be cost you more than 6 or 8 millions of RMB. So it's almost like I invest 8 millions of RMB into some kind of like education of myself, and then I expect that can be a life change of myself. So for a regular Chinese, especially back to those days, if you get to other countries, like first I was thinking about to go to Britain. Actually, I did a combined course, because I was graduated from a Singapore college, which is a private college in Shanghai set up. That private school was also very expensive. And I got a I got a bachelor degree which issued by the University of Portsmouth, and I was expecting to go to UK to continue my master degree, but since I didn't graduated with a honors, like honors of bachelor degree, so they do not accept me to enroll in Portsmouth, and unless I can redo some of the credit. I think it's like 2 years of extra studies or something to get the bachelor. Then I would be qualified to be a postgraduate student. I think that will be a lot of money, so that's why I changed my study destination to Australia. So this is basically the stories that what I was experienced back to 12 years ago. And when I land to Australia, I had a, you know, as a Chinese, you first get to a place and you don't have too many friends. I had 2 of my old classmates who like went to Australia before me, so they had some kind of like a experience over there. They helped me to find a place to live, which I really appreciated. And so I was tend to get along with the Chinese students and try to play with them and try to do stuff with them. But after like almost like 1 month, I found no, that would not be the life that I expected in Australia. Why? Because once you stuck with those like Chinese ethnic group, first you don't have the opportunity to practice your English, because then what is the purpose to come here if I just stay in China and I can do the same thing and I don't have to know such kind of people, right? They are not helpful for my goal back to 10 years ago. So like after 1 month or 2 months maximum, I shifted all of my mindset. Then I was trying to get to know people from all over the world. And you know, what I'm going to say is those like Chinese richest spoiled kids in Australia who bought those like a super polished Lamborghini car or some like just a luxury car. I couldn't even think about it to afford such kind of expensive car. The only car that I bought for myself in Australia when I first get there, that was like a 3,000 Australian dollars second-hand car, which is a Hyundai. Anyway, so that's not what I'm going to talk about today. So it's a kind of like let you feel I'm not the guy that can get along with those super rich kids, but they are willing to get along with me because, you know, back to 10 years ago, I wasn't a bad looking guy. I was cool. I had like long hair and I was way slim than I'm now, because you know, especially those rich girls, they would like to like stay with me because I'm quite like a calm guy, not very aggressively funny, but I have a kind of like a sense of humor. So those rich girls, and they love to stay with me, but all of those girls, what they are talking about is like Louis Vuitton bags and luxury clothes and some like other branding stuffs, and they are trapped both for those things. And that's why I really dislike those girls. They try to put them look really like how to call it, I don't know the English word. It's like they try to make them look like from a higher class of the of our country, and they try to pretend to be really well educated. But for me, I really dislike this kind of lifestyle. So, but I do have quite a lot like rich friends who are from the CCP family and who studied in Australia, and also are good guys. I mean, I'm not like blindly blame every one of those guys are stupid and you know, just like fuck around and play with the chicks. But a big proportion of them are brainless. They do not learn anything in the university, and you know, for me, I was like quite hard to study. I tried to get every GDP, not the GDP, GPA, sorry. So as much as I can actually. So that's a little bit like a background story, and I still have like friends who is from the Chinese Communist Party family, and they are still doing a huge business actually in the country, and they manage a certain amount of fortune here. It doesn't mean like I will blindly against to those guys, because some of them are my good friends, and I think Eric showed up in my previous video. He is a really good guy, and he doesn't judge people based on if you do have money or not. So that's a little bit like a small story of myself in Australia. And if you guys have any questions about like the experience that I stayed in Australia, you can drop me a question that maybe I can give you a quick talk about those kind of experience, especially for a overseas student. So I'm now walking into a local street, and then probably I'll show you. So cheers guys.